So we've officially arrived to the spot, and some of the gear right there. But this is where we're gonna be calling home for a little bit. Be shooting roughly 2 podcasts, and we're going to have up to, I want to say, 6 people in the shot, so this should be an interesting one today. So to kick things off, we're moving gear in, and we're trying to get a sense of how we're actually going to set up this shot. Now, one thing that I had figured out is that I did not want to compete with the window, so everything would be shot towards the TV, towards that metal wall. Now, of course, that gave us a little bit of difficulty because of reflection, but as I mentioned, not having to compete with the window was going to be ideal more than actually having to shoot against it. Now, on top of that, we have the softbox that we brought in. We brought in the 3 cameras, the Lumix S5 2X, we had the GH5, then we also had the GH4 as our wide shot. Now, once we were all set up, this meant we could then jump into the first interview, which was going to be with Folio Weekly, that featured Nico and Carmen from Folio Weekly. Now, you guys are getting a behind the scenes look. You can see Nico being filmed with the Lumix S5 2X. Here is his actual final shot. We've got the lower third. We then jump to the wide shot with the GH4, and then we have Carmen's angle with the GH5. Now, this 3 camera shoot gave me the ability to do plenty of cutting because we were going to actually be shooting a podcast style video, so an interview, but we also wanted to make it kind of long form. That way we could repurpose it as a podcast and also clip it up in different formats. That way we could kind of draw some traction in regards to the event. Now, once we finished the Folio interview, that led us into our second interview or our meetup, and that was going to be with the band Flip Turn.
I had to be outside, man. It's nice out. What's going on, dude? You as well? How you doing? Trevor, I mean, you guys know Trevor. This is Trey behind the lens.
Now, of course, when the band and Nico meet up, this is a little bit of a portion where they can do the introduction to everyone, because we also know that we will be working with them hand in hand when it comes concert time. Now, also, Rick, the property manager, was out there, and he was able to give us a little bit of a history of the property, why it existed, how it came about, and what its functionality is currently. Now, we did a little bit of a walk around with the band, just giving them the lay of the land, showing them some of the different rail cars and how they could be used, not only for Nico's team, but also for the band and other bands. And then also giving them a full perspective of where the stage is going to be, how your audience is going to be viewing and participating in the concert, and then also how the VIP cars are part of the experience as well. Now, those are going to be able to be rented, and of course, that is going to be the premium product for this show, as the actual participant could be in the car watching the concert while also being in their own VIP experience. And we took Flip Turn into one of the cars so they could get a look at it, and then that led us into the full podcast interview with the full band Flip Turn.
Welcome to the River City Railway, guys. Thanks, we got Flip Turn in the house. First, reactions. I think we discussed as you guys showed up, most, if not all of us, had no idea that this place existed. And now we're putting on a show here. So what do you think so far?
Stoked on it, actually, after getting to walk around the area. I think this is going to be a pretty cool, unique experience for coming to a show in Jax.
Yeah, I love how the alleyway of it, it's like very, like the stage is the centerpiece, and that's the only way you're going to be able to look. And then the sidecars all around it too. It's like very, very different atmosphere from like any other, most outdoor venues. It's gonna be cool.
Now, similar to the Folio Weekly interview, same setup, 3 camera shoot, Lumix S5 2X on the main guest Flip Turn. Then we had the Lumix GH5 on both Nico and the drummer Devin of Flip Turn, and then we had the GH4 dedicated as our wide shot. Now, one thing you'll find in the wide, whether it was Folio or it was Flip Turn, We actually filmed with the TV off. Not ideal, but we weren't able to get access to it. So instead, in post-production, I went and added a graphic on the TV. Now that definitely helped because I was dealing with a little bit of reflection from the actual light, my key light. I kind of knew that going in, but I knew I needed it positioned there, and fighting and trying to move it around made no sense for me. So knowing that in post-production I was going to add a graphic on top of that TV, it took a little bit of the stress levels down. Now you guys are seeing the different angles, whether it be the main shot, whether it be Nico and Devin's shot, or whether it be the wide shot. This gave us some multiple angles to cut between for the full run of show. Now, you guys are probably seeing it. As far as audio went, we had 4 podcast mics, and then we also had a shotgun mic, and then we had 2 lavaliers. Now, side note, this was an absolute audio nightmare. I tried to use Adobe to fix it, but what I ended up finding out, and I had to talk to Nico and Trevor about this, was we did a full run of show where I went in and individually deactivated certain audios because we were getting a lot of echo. Noise removal was not actually helping. And then in the Adobe mix, what we were having is some people were being cut in and out when they were speaking. So fixed that, went in, individually kind of did our best, but also a lot of these products end result were to be clips. So when it came down to clipping the full podcast, I was able to go and isolate a lot of audio and make sure the clips were 100% good to go. So conclusion, 6 people doing a podcast in a tight spot. I kind of knew what was going to happen going in, but I wasn't going to say no to the opportunity. And I think overall, not only between the walk around, between the Folio Weekly, between shooting B-roll of the property, this was a really unique project that I wanted to kind of show to you guys because, as mentioned, we were basically showing up 1 month before the actual concert. We're doing podcast, we're filming the actual facility and making assets that you, as someone that would buy a ticket to come to this concert, you can see the lay of the land and how the actual space is going to be laid out. Because it's actually really hard to kind of get your head around the actual property itself because there's a bunch of rail cars and just like a parking lot. And so Nico had the vision of going ahead on the front end and giving people an understanding of what they'll be going into on the show nights. Now we're going to have show night on Friday and Saturday, and I'll be out there documenting it. It's going to be super fun. We're going to try to shoot some really unique kind of immersive kind of content where it might be interviews, it might be vlog style, but it will just be a whole assortment of what we've kind of already done here because we're just trying to document some of the experiences and some of these events that Nico and our team are putting on because they're really starting to they're trying to kind of push the environments and the kind of atmospheres that are being created for some of the concerts here in the local Jacksonville area.
Like most people, I've been here for tailgates and just some random stuff over the years, but most people, like friends, people in the office, Trey behind the camera, like anybody were like, have you been here before? Have you heard of it? They're like, no. And I'm like, that gets
no one in my office knew where I was going. Because I didn't. I was like, I'm meeting him at a railroad. I was so confused. And that's why I emailed you this morning. I was like, where am I actually meeting you? And I drove past this twice. Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is it.
You've driven over it a million times. You've driven past it. And now we're going to get an opportunity to like showcase it in a different light. And there's so much, in my opinion, there's just so much opportunity with this space. So we're excited to be a partner of the space to bring concerts and continue to develop some ideas that we have beyond even this initial concert series that'll, I think, make it an exciting venue for this and some other, great things that are going to come.